We're now going to go over the call center features of the phone. So as an agent, when you are at your desk, you're going to have two extensions. You're going to have what we call your base extension, which if you look at the screen, that's what you see here. This is 3845, that's 3844. Your base extension will actually be 5 digits. So you're going to have to log in every day to take calls through the call center, which most of you are already familiar with logging in and out of your phone. So to log in on the phone, you're going to hit the hot desk button, and then you're going to see where it says enter extension. You're going to put in, if your extension is 68432, then you're going to put in 68*432. So the star will go after the first 2 digits of your phone. So you're going to put that in on the phone, and then you're going to hit enter, and then it's going to ask you for a PIN. Your PIN is going to be whatever your base extension is. So if your base extension, when you're not logged in, is 68432, that's what you're going to log in on your phone to get into the system. So I'm going to log in on here with my base extension. And now I'm logged in as an agent. And you can see something that popped up on the screen that wasn't there before was the Make Busy. And that wasn't showing before. And that's because the phone was not logged in as an agent before. Now, if a call comes in, it's going to ring on whoever's phone has been off the phone the longest. So if there's 2 or 3 of you taking calls that day, you've been sitting idle longer than the other people, you will get the call before they will get the call. And the way the system will work is if you don't answer the call within 3 rings, then it's going to log you out of the ACD, and then it's going to pass the call over to the next available agent. So you would actually have to log back in to the call center in order to accept calls. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make that happen so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to call into the system so that you can see what it looks like when it logs you out. And I'm not going to answer that call. I'm just going to let it ring. See, I'm getting a recording.
Thank you for calling CRI. We are currently...
Now, that's what I wanted you to see. It logged me completely out. So see here, Make Busy is gone. So now I'm logged out again, so I'm not going to get any more ACD calls until I log back into the system. So it's going to be important for you to grab those calls when they're ringing in and to pay attention to your screen. Now you guys have already been through the Ignite client training, so you know that's going to give you a lot of information too. You'll be able to see on there if you're logged in or not. But if you are looking at the phone, if you don't see the words Make Busy, then you're not logged into the phone. So our phones are logged into ACD. We see that we have Make Busy on the screen. So if a call were to come in through the ACD path, then it's going to come in and it's going to hit these phones. So I'm going to go ahead and place a call. And see, it's ringing here because this phone has been in the idle mode the longest. So I'm going to answer the phone. And I now have the caller. So if a secondary call came in, it would hit this phone over here. Now, once I finish talking to the person and I hang up, what you're going to notice on your screen is what they call a work timer. And that allows you to finish up the paperwork that you're working on. And depending on what department you are, the work timer is different. For class here, it's very short, but most work timers are about 15 to 30 seconds at least. Some of them are a little bit longer. But when I finish with the caller and I hang up, you're going to see that. So I hang up the call. There's the work timer. So this phone will not ring with an ACD call until the work timer goes away. I could hit cancel timer if I didn't want to wait. So if I hit cancel timer, then I would be allowed to get the very next call if I needed to. It wouldn't come through, because if you have a situation where there's not many people in the call center and the calls are really busy, you might want to go ahead and cancel the timer so you can help out with the calls quicker. That's going to be how the calls are going to come into the system. Now, if I put my phone in Make Busy, which I just hit this key right here. And if you use work codes, you would enter it here. And the work codes, that is for the reporting. So when the supervisor is looking at the department to see productivity, how many calls came in, how many calls hung up, that type of thing, they can also look at how many times a phone has been put in Make Busy. So most of the departments are using codes for that. For one might be for break, two might be for meeting, that type of thing. So if you're not sure what your Make Busy codes are, check with your supervisor and they'll be able to give those to you. But when my phone is in Make Busy, like this one is now, it's going to be lit and it's going to say Make Busy on the screen. So no calls would come into my phone. So if another call came in, it would ring over to the other phone for two reasons. One, because my phone is in Make Busy, but also because that phone has now been idle longer than this one. So if another call comes in, you see it's ringing over to the secondary phone. So same thing, I could answer this, and now I've got the call. I talked to the person, I could transfer them somewhere if I needed to. I could also use my secondary line there, because that's your base extension line, kind of like your private line. So if you needed to call your supervisor to talk to them or something, or check on something for the other person on the phone, you could just use that line. I finished with the call, I'm gonna hang up, and there's your work timer for this person also. I take my phone out of Make Busy. Now this person here is back into the call queue. So that's your Make Busy, your wrap-up timer, and how to log into the system. I'm now going to go over a feature that your supervisor has access to called silent monitoring. It's very common in a call center environment that periodically a supervisor will need to check the quality of the calls of the different agents that are under them. So to do this, they use Silent Monitor. With this system, one of the features of Silent Monitor is not just listening, but they can actually coach you to give you assistance on a call, which is very good if you have new call center agents. To do this, what a supervisor would do is they'll press their Silent Monitor button right here, and they'll put in the agent ID. And see, this tells me now that I'm monitoring this agent right here. And two features popped up that weren't here before: Coach On and Join Calls. Now, if I wanted to coach the agent, all I have to do as the supervisor is press the Coach On button. And what that will do is the supervisor can actually speak into their phone, and you as the agent will hear them through your handset, but you'll still have the caller on the phone, and the caller cannot hear the supervisor. So this is something you should probably practice with your supervisor, just so both of you get comfortable with it, because you wouldn't want to answer the supervisor back while you're in the middle of a call with somebody else, and that person doesn't realize that the call's being monitored. The supervisor can turn the coach button back off, and then that way they're back to monitoring. So if they have something to say to you, they could hit the button to say it, and then they could immediately turn it off. The other thing that they can do is join the call together like a conference call. So if you had a difficult person on the phone, the supervisor is monitoring, and maybe they're going to hit their Coach On button and recommend that you tell the caller that you are going to conference in your supervisor. And then what would happen is the supervisor can actually just hit their Join Calls button, and now you're going to see that everybody is pulled together in a three-party conference. So then you're going to have the supervisor, yourself, and the caller on the phone. And the caller at that time would just be able to continue to speak to everybody. You could drop off if you needed to, but it starts out as a three-party conference. And this is the Silent Monitor feature. Now, at the end of the day, you're going to need to log out of the ACD. To do that, all you have to do is hit the Log Out button, and it's going to log you completely out. And you notice your screen clears and your Make Busy is gone. And your extension has now changed to be what your base extension was, and your ACD extension has gone out. So you wouldn't receive any more calls at the end of the day once you log out. This concludes the ACD portion of the phone training.